the brain energy theory is basically is fundamental regarding the mitochondria. The mitochondria, as it's described, is a powerhouse of the cell. Can you give us a description of mitochondria, how it functions, and specifically how it functions in our brains, so that maybe we can understand brain energy?
So I'm going to take a tiny step back and then I'll come right to mitochondria.
Sure.
So the tiny step back is if you ask the best neuroscientists and psychiatrists today, what causes mental illness? What exactly causes it?
Mm-hmm.
You get the really good ones, the honest ones will tell you, we don't know. It's complicated. All we know are risk factors. And so the risk factors that you'll hear about or the factors that might be involved are usually lumped into what's called the biopsychosocial model: biological, psychological, and social factors.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's neurotransmitters, hormones, genetics, they play a role. Inflammation plays a role. The gut microbiome, that's the hot topic these days, that plays a role. But psychological and social things do too. Trauma, stress, adversity, loss, all of these things play a role. How do they all fit together? No one knows. It's just too complicated. And so the beautiful thing about understanding mitochondria is that they can actually connect all of the things that I just rattled off. And they can help us understand how and why, actually down to very concrete mechanisms of action. They can help us understand how and why the brain might malfunction. And that comes with tremendous power because it gives us insight into what might be happening, but more importantly, what we can do. So what are mitochondria? So most people in a biology class have known mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. And as a reminder, what does that mean? It means mitochondria take the food and oxygen. So we eat food and we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Those are fundamental to our life and our biology. And all of those things kind of center within mitochondria. So mitochondria are taking this food that we eat and they're turning it into ATP, which is like the energy currency of the cell. And that is why they are the powerhouse of the cell. They are using the oxygen that we're breathing in, and they're producing the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. That's what most people know. Mitochondria are the powerhouses. They are the powerhouses. That doesn't change. There's no doubt about it. Over the last 20 years, though, that simplistic definition and that simplistic understanding of mitochondria has been completely shattered. Mitochondrial research is actually one of the most cutting edge areas of research in all fields of medicine, literally all fields of medicine, in cancer research, in obesity research, cardiovascular research, diabetes research, mental health. And some of the functions that mitochondria perform start to connect these dots of this biopsychosocial model. So mitochondria play a role in producing, releasing, and regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA and glutamate and dopamine, which are known to play a role in mental illness. Mitochondria turn inflammation both on and off. Mitochondria play a role in gene expression or epigenetics. So they are sending signals to the cell nucleus to turn genes on or off. Mitochondria respond to diet and exercise. Mitochondria actually respond to psychological and social factors too, though. So mitochondria play a role in the human stress response, and then they are impacted by the human stress response. So it's kind of a circle. It's they're playing a role in triggering this stress response, but then mitochondria and other cells are the recipients of those signals, and they actually change based on human stress and trauma. And drugs and alcohol play into it. Like the primary toxicity, like most people know, alcohol, that plays a role in mental illness. What does that have to do with your mitochondria, Dr. Palmer? Well, actually, everything. And we've known about it for like since the 1960s. Alcohol causes liver cirrhosis. We've known that for decades. Guess how that happens? It's poisoning your mitochondria in your liver cells. That is what causes liver cirrhosis. Alcoholism causes dementia. How does that happen? Mitochondria. It's poisoning the mitochondria.
Mm.
So, marijuana impacts mitochondrial function. Key hormones are actually produced. The first step in their synthesis occurs within mitochondria. So, not the whole process occurs in mitochondria, but the first step, which is usually the rate limiting step for the production of most molecules in biology, that first step is usually the rate limiting step.
Mm-hmm.
And the production of cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone are all taking place within mitochondria. Mitochondria they take serotonin and turn it into melatonin. So like a lot of things that we all know play a role in mental health and the mental health field are all happening within mitochondria.